Hello, welcome once again to my class. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to cut a puffed Ankara sleeve top that can be worn on tights, skirts, jeans, or whatever you choose to wear with. So what you need for this project is 3 yards of Ankara fabric. You're going to fold on the table 2 yards, as you can see. From the folded angle, you will fold into 4. Then you're going to measure the shoulder. I always make my shoulder a little excess, and later on I could always adjust that, as you can notice from my video. Then after taking the shoulder measurement, I go for the armhole. You really don't need the waist measurement here because it's going to be an A-line top. But if you need to take waist measurement to actually make a more shapely top, then it's about 16.5 inches from the top of the material that is folded that you're going to cut. So now I'm going to take the bust measurement, exact measurement. Then I'm going to just trace an A from that point to the bottom. And make sure that your A is not exaggerated. It should just be like an inch more than your hip measurement at the bottom. So always verify that after drawing your A. You don't need to verify the waist because being an A, if you do the slant, it's going to accommodate the waist. Always make sure you leave at least 1 seam allowance in case you need to adjust the fabric if it's too tight. And that's what you see I'm doing. I'm cutting off the excess after making allowance for 1 inch seam allowance. Having trimmed out the armhole, now we're going to mark the neckline. You could decide to do whatever neckline you like, but for this particular top I want the high round neck, so I'm going to make it 4 inches deep and 3.5 inches wide. And make sure your circle is rounded, because if you don't draw properly, you will come out with a shape that is different from what you anticipated. And don't forget also to take off 1 inch from the outer part of the shoulder, because this actually allows your blouse to sit properly on you when it's worn. Take 1.5 inch ease off the back while folded into 4 before you separate it, because you cannot really have front and back the same depth. If not, it may look a little bit awkward. So normally for tops, the back is always higher than the front. So in the front I had 4 inches, and at the back panel I had 1.5 inches. Having taken off the back layer, the back panel, now I could cut the front of the neckline. So always make sure you don't forget, if you're cutting together, don't forget to separate them before you cut the front neckline. So now I'm going to slit the back panel to be able to accommodate my buttonhole, and so it could really pass through the head, because if you don't do that, you may struggle to wear it since it doesn't have a zip. So it's always good to make that cut at the back that you're going to pipe later, as I'm going to show you in my video. So you keep this aside, and now you go for the sleeves. I don't want my sleeve to be too long, so I'm using 16 inches, but you can decide to make yours longer. It all depends on you. If you want it to be 3/4, then you could go for like 25 inches long, or 20 inches long, because it's a puff sleeve. So if you do 20 inches, it's actually going to come up to like 15 after sewing, because of the fronts that the elastic at the bottom of the top is going to form. So for you to get the exact width you need to form a puff sleeve that will not be too exaggerated, all you really need to do is to double the measurement of your round sleeve. For instance, if your round sleeve is 14, you could do 28 or 25 and you'll be good. It depends on how puffy you want the sleeve to be. So you make sure what you have there is not too big, too wide, so that there will be too much excess for your armhole. And that's why I'm trimming off the outer part of the top of my sleeve, as you can see. So if you want, sometimes you could just measure from that part that I just pull together to the end of the armhole. And if you feel it's going to be too much, you could also still trim a little bit out of it, or measure at least 21 inches round, and that should fit almost any armhole, or an armhole of 8 inches wide. So if you notice, I'm using the border of my fabric because it tries to create perfect it adds to the beauty of the top. So when cutting in the fabric, always study your fabric pattern, so you could use this wisely, as I'm doing right now in this video. So now I'm going to teach you how to cut your bias. Always cut diagonally. You see the way I pulled it, because when you cut diagonally, you tend to get a stretch. And when it stretches, it sits well and it will form the neck nicely. But if you cut straight, you won't get the desired effect you're going for. So you don't actually need your bias to be too wide. What I want for this particular bias is about 1.5 inches, because it's Ankara, so it doesn't really fold as small as the softer fabric will do. So what I do is verify after cutting and cut off the excess. So take your time. Precision is very important when it comes to sewing, for you to have what you want. So you sew the sides, the shoulder, you form your fronts on the top of your sleeves. Make sure that it's at these two sewing, 2 stitch you have round to be able to pull nicely. Then you get a safety pin, fix in your elastic band, secure at the end, so as you're pulling it won't pull off. That's what you see me do in the video. So once you've secured that nicely, you keep pulling. Then at the end of the other side of the bottom of the sleeve, you also secure when you pull out the elastic. So after joining my sides, piping my neck, folding the top of my top, before I fix my sleeve, I always verify the measurement. So always do that so that your measurements could be exact. You don't have to just rush it. Then after sewing, you start taking off again to sew properly. So it's important at this particular point that you cross check. As I told you earlier, I always make my sleeve length a bit excess, a bit more than it actually should be, so that after sewing I could adjust appropriately. So that's what I'm doing now. I also verify my armhole to make sure it gives me the 8 inches I need, because I want it to be 8 inches after joining the shoulder, the sides. So now I've verified and I see it's a bit, it falls short. That's why you see I'm trimming off some parts of that. So always verify your measurements. Now I'm going to go to fixing the sleeve. So before you go to the machine to sew, take your sleeves that you've already pulled the fronts, you've put your elastic, you've joined the sides. You're now going to put it inside the top, the right sides facing each other. Then you try to make sure that everything is perfect, that it aligns perfectly with the armhole. If it's too small, adjust your fronts. If it's too big, pull more fronts. So that's what you do to get the perfect fit. And once you have made sure that's okay, you could now go to your machine and start sewing. And voila, your job is almost done. So you could actually put this together with a pin. You could use your office pin to make sure that they stay together and they don't pull out in the course of your sewing. So take your time while sewing. Make sure that the edges are equal, they are even. One is not backward and another one forward. Make sure the two sits properly so that your sewing is going to be perfect. You don't rush it. Take your time so that you come out with good sewing. Yeah, so that's it. Our top is ready. So if you like my video, you've enjoyed the class, please